So, to siege a castle, you could be there for months. So the method that would usually be used to pull down a trebuchet, which is much like the one we use today with our oh-so-medieval tractor, would be the traditional method, with horse and ox, pulling it down. The trouble is, you siege your castle for months. After a couple of months you've run out of food, your method of pulling down the trebuchet is going to look more and more tasty. So we've got these massive wheels on the side of it. What we'd normally do is take 4 men, 2 in each wheel, who would walk in the wheels, and that rope that's pulling the arm down would actually wrap around the central axle of those wheels, and that would bring the arm down. So we can use men, rather than animals, or tractors, to pull down the arm. Very, very clever. This technology comes from medieval cranes. The problem with it is that it's very, very disorientating, and it's not uncommon for someone in those wheels to suffer from motion sickness. Not a great idea when the floor becomes the ceiling every few seconds. Very, very messy, very, very slippy. So, medieval cranes, they used to use blind people. As of then, now, equal opportunities employer. See, blind people, they can't see, so they don't get motion sickness. And you don't want to be sick, slip out of that wheel 200 metres in the air that's being used for a crane. We can't take blind people to war, so our soldiers are just going to have to do. The idea of a siege is to make life so unpleasant inside castle or city walls that the occupants have to surrender. Now, it's all very well and good throwing rocks at them, but there are far more interesting things you can throw from your trebuchet. My personal favourite, take a dead pig. Leave it in the sun for a couple of weeks. It's rotten, full of maggots and pus. Load it in your trebuchet, throw it over the castle wall. It'll be travelling at over 150 miles an hour. Flat in the central courtyard. Rotting pus, maggots everywhere. Pretty disgusting. But if you get some of that in their water supply, they're going to have to surrender within days. Germ warfare, the first ever kind. It's not just germ warfare we can use, we can also use psychological warfare. Sieging a castle for a couple of months, and they decide they want to surrender. So they send out someone to agree terms. Man comes over the hill, waving his white flag in surrender. You decide, don't want to surrender yet, just knock him on his head, load him in the trebuchet, and throw him back into the castle. You know he's landed when he stops screaming. Not just the enemy you can throw. You can throw your own soldiers. If you've ever heard of the Black Death. Yeah. The problem with the plague is that it has to be transferred by ticks and lice. And in order to have ticks and lice in your body, you have to be alive. Okay? So we need to throw our plague victims nice and alive. And we're back to the germ warfare. There's one more item that is also pretty interesting. If your castle you're sieging decides to attack back, they decide that they're going to try and take out your trebuchet. So they send out their knights, men in full armour on horseback, a medieval tank. Impenetrable to arrows, bounce straight off the armour. So what are you going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to load beehives into our trebuchet. Okay? We're going to throw them at these knights, we're going to land just in front of them. What we're going to do to do that is we're going to use a longer rope. That means that our shot will go slightly shorter and drop right in front of the castle walls rather than over it. Bees are going to come out of their eyes angry. They're going to go inside the knight's armour, they're going to be stinging them, they're going to rip their helmets off, they're going to rip their breastplates off, and then our archers can take them out. So there's all manner of interesting things. Something else more interesting than a stone is a fireball. Something that we're going to do tonight. Yeah. Our fireballs are one of our 15-kilo rocks, so one of our standard shots. Soaked in lamp oil all day, after being wrapped in layer upon layer of absorbent oxygen. Our trebuchet master will give the command, prepare to load. Prepare to load! This means the ball is lifted out of the water, flammable liquid, and is drained off. He gives the command load, and the ball is placed inside the central trough, where it's to be fired from. He loops the rope over the end of the arm. He walks around the machine and steps up to remove two very, very important safeties. First of all, he removes the chain. Chain removed! Second of all, with a shaking hand, he removes the pin which holds the trigger in place. Pin removed! Our machine is now live. He steps off the machine and places on a helmet to protect himself from the rigging. Add fire! Gives the command add fire, which orders the lighting of the projectile. He must now hold. Too long, he burns down the trebuchet. Not long enough, and the ball will go out in the air, making it useless. So he holds. And he holds. Ladies and gentlemen, the Warwick Castle trebuchet! Oh my gosh, massive cheer for our trebuchet master makes that possible.